Maputa, Brazza, Luanda, South Africa, Abidjan, Yaoundé, Libreville, Paris ou même Jamena. Si Koyo Kanatikeli iyo papa.
Chers téléspectateurs, vous suivez votre émission préférée, Bakolo States, en direct de Washington DC, la capitale du monde. Nous diffusons chaque samedi à 21 h sur CNTV, mercredi et jeudi en rediffusion. Surtout, n'oubliez pas de consulter notre site internet www.bacolostate.com où se trouve l'intégralité de nos émissions. Contactez-nous pour nous donner vos réactions, suggestions et recommandations.
Bakolo State. Bakolo State.
Bakolo State.
Bakolo State.
Bakolo State.
Bakolo State.
Mama sokyo zaraki kakana bomoi. Bele na sengyo zangi sanga susuana. Jamolinga tingana lila yo seka. Jamolinga tiyo la langa la lamuka. Jamolinga tiata ngumbia tungi sanga. Soki na beli ozalaki kota na tokosa. Banda yo kenda na nguma abandone. Récompense na yo na kopesa na nyango. Ata na leli na nyango dorlotenga. Yango na yebeli ya nzembo yo mama yondo. Kanisia mingi mama nyondo. Au jour anniversaire nanga ekomi pene. Invité bakolia bakomela masanga. Yokutu artisana ngoyo zalite. Yepa yozali sakyo kutani na occasion e. Indelanga carte de feu ata fololo. Esengo nanga ekozala multiplié fois deux. Normalement fête ya lelo ezali ya yo. Serment d'Hippocrate ba medese ba kosalaka. Yanga serment ozala toujours mama nanga. Ata baba neli mokili soki malaka mae. Yanga serment ozala toujours mama nanga. Mama soki ozala kikaka na bomoi. Mbele na seni ozangisanga susuana. Mama soki ozala kikaka na bomoi. Mbele na seni ozangisanga susuana.
Chers téléspectateurs de l'émission Bakolo States, bonjour. Je sais que vous êtes là, très nombreux devant vos écrans pour suivre votre émission préférée avec Garry, Iwele, comme ça a toujours été depuis Washington DC, la capitale du monde. Vous me voyez ici, je suis dans cette salle, une grande salle qu'on appelle Dean Hutchison Auditorium. Dean Hutchison Auditorium, c'est dans le State Department. Nous sommes ici puisque c'est le 2011 International Women of Courage Award Ceremony. Donc c'est la cérémonie de remise des trophées aux femmes internationales, les femmes courageuses internationalement reconnues. Donc cet award a été institué ici au State Department chaque année depuis déjà 30 ans que ces cérémonies existent. Alors aujourd'hui c'est un jour très spécial, comme je vous ai toujours dit. Désormais le Congo ne sera plus absent à ce genre de choses, à ce genre de cérémonies, puisqu'il faut toujours aller là où tout se décide. Aujourd'hui c'est un jour spécial puisque ces cérémonies seront animées, qui seront hostes par Madame Hillary Clinton, qui est la secrétaire d'État américain, qui va faire son entrée d'ici quelques minutes, mais aussi spécial puisqu'il y a une invitée spéciale, une invitée très spéciale qui est donc Madame Michelle Obama, elle-même la First Lady des États-Unis d'Amérique. Donc, bana Kishasa, bana partout à monde entier, Bogolanda, Awanakati, émission à Bakolo State, comme je dis toujours, que partout où Magambo Bandoleka pour le Congo, désormais aux Alawana pour Congo, vous n'allez jamais plus absent na Bamama Boyo. Donc tout ça na carte tu peux dire il y a State Department na salle Oyo, Babengi Dean Hutchison Auditorium na cadre département d'État. La cérémonie va passer à trophée na ba femme Oyo, ba sala ka Magamama minene na monde. Alors les loyo le 8 mars. Le 8 mars, c'est le jour, la journée dédiée à la femme, la journée internationale de la femme. Alors ils ont choisi cette journée pour que, ici au State Department, Madame Hillary Clinton puisse remettre les trophées à toutes ces dames. Elles sont là, mais il y a aussi une Africaine qui est là, Madame Harriet Ekwe Ebongo du Cameroun. Elle sera là pour animer, pour recevoir aussi un trophée. Donc, Tozaliawa, première dame première dame Michelle Obama, Aroya Awa, Awazala Awa, et puis Madame Hillary Clinton. C'est très important puisque cette journée aussi marque, c'est une journée très importante pour nous au Congo. Pourquoi? Puisque la femme congolaise est vraiment chosifiée, elle est molestée, elle est violée, elle est chosifiée depuis des années. Mais voilà que ici où on vient reconnaître les dames qui ont fait beaucoup de choses. Il y a une dame d'Afghanistan, il y a une dame de Bélarus, il y a une dame de Chine, il y a une Camerounaise, il y a une dame de Hongrie, il y a une dame du Cuba, il y a une dame de Kyrgyzstan, il y a une dame de Jordanie. Il y a une dame du Mexique, mais il n'y a pas une Congolaise. Donc, à toute la femme congolaise, faites des actions sociales, impactez votre communauté là où vous êtes, pour que aussi vous venez un jour aussi être reconnu ici de votre travail. Donc le bienfait ne sont jamais perdus, comme on dit. Ce que vous saluez, vous défendre tout le monde, les journalistes, bazali, tu as droit de l'homme, bazali, donc internationalement elles sont reconnues pour la cérémonie où Madame Hillary Clinton a représenté le trophée. Dans le minité, vous aurez moi extrême cérémonie pour que que Bakolo States déjà toujours wana, parce que c'est toujours important pour que nous soyons là pour couvrir ces événements. Alors, tout le qui est à niveau il faut monana, niveau mais nous vraiment nous encourageons nous militer pour la paix. Na mokili, tala ba cérémonie aux osama pour reconnaître malamu ya batu bazoko sala. Donc voilà, moi les selo na yango wan au mona Madame Hillary Clinton kalamité aoya wana Michelle Obama First Lady.
And the Secretary of State, accompanied by the President of the Kyrgyz Republic, the Prime Minister of Australia, Ambassador Milan Verveer, the 2011 International Women of Courage Award recipients, and Mr. Lloyd Blankfein.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the State Department. We're so pleased that you could join us for our celebration of the 100th anniversary of International Women's Day. And we have come together to honor some remarkable women of courage. And we are thrilled once again to have our First Lady with us. Welcome. And we have many distinguished guests here this morning. all of our friends and colleagues here from the State Department, particularly Undersecretary Otero and Hormats, and many leading members of Congress, Congresswoman Louise Slaughter, Nita Lowey, Eddie Bernice Johnson, Lynn Woolsey, Carolyn McCarthy, Jan Jakowski, Gwen Moore, Karen Bass, and Sheila Jackson Lee. And we want to thank Senator Shaheen and Congresswoman Jakowski for introducing resolutions commemorating this historic centennial. And now it is my happy task to turn the podium over to the woman who is recognized around the world as a champion for women and girls. A woman who has used her voice and her platform over many years to lift up those whose voices have too often been silenced or marginalized. A woman who never ceases to remind us that progress for women and girls and progress for nations go hand in hand. Please welcome a tireless advocate, a woman of courage in her own right, our own Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton.
To the State Department. We are so pleased to be hosting this 100th anniversary celebration and to have so many distinguished guests. I want to start by thanking Milan. As most of you know, Milan Revere is our ambassador at large for global women's issues. And I want to recognize that she has been a woman of courage almost every day of her life, but she also deserves an award as a woman of stamina. She travels on behalf of the Obama administration almost endlessly, Mrs. Obama, and she just keeps going year after year, chipping away at the problems that affect women and girls and that affect national security, economies, peace, and stability. It is a great pleasure, once again, to be able to celebrate this day with the First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama. Mrs. Obama has done so much to support, inspire, and challenge women and girls here at home and around the world. You see her in our schools with American children. You see her in the schools of India and elsewhere with school children there. And everywhere she goes, she sends an unmistakable message that she and her husband, who happens to be the President of the United States, have two daughters that they love and support and are providing the direction and discipline that is needed to raise children, and they hope, as we all do, that every child would have the same opportunity to live up to his or her God-given potential. I'm also delighted to welcome the first woman Prime Minister of Australia, Julia Gillard. We're also honored to have with us Cherie Blair, who has started a wonderful foundation to help women entrepreneurs. And we are working together on the Women initiative to tap the power of mobile technologies to empower women. And I'm delighted that you could be here with us as well, Cherie. We also have the participants from the 100 Women initiative that we launched yesterday. These are established and emerging leaders from business, academia, civil society, media, medicine, from every region of the world. And then finally, I want to welcome this year's 10 winners of the International Women of Courage Awards. Each and every one of these women is remarkable. I have known some for many years, some I'm meeting for the first time today. Now, I have to say, we've never before given an award to a head of state. But we were so inspired by the tremendous courage, leadership, and tenacity shown by the first woman to lead a Central Asian nation, President Rosa Otunbayeva of the Kyrgyz Republic. They have been insulted, beaten, and tortured. And yet each of these women has found the strength to persevere in the face of fear, isolation, or repression. And they've done so not just one day or 1 year, but day after day and year after year. Now, 2 of our honorees, Nastya Palazanka from Belarus and Ioanni Sanchez from Cuba, could not be here because their governments would not allow them to travel here. But we are with them in spirit, and we salute them for everything they are doing on behalf of their countries and their people. There are now more than 850 million girls and young women aged 10 to 24. What kind of world will they inherit? What kind of world will their children inherit? How will they lead the next generation? Who will they look to as models? The women in this room all know how to lead by example. Henriette, who's working for good governance in Cameroon, or Jianmei fighting sexual harassment cases for women in China. Eva seeking to stop so-called honor killings in Jordan. Marie Sela, who is starting a federal witness protection program so cartels can be prosecuted in Mexico. Maria insisting on defending women brutalized by domestic abuse even after her own home was set afire in Afghanistan. Agnesh defending the rights of Roma women from a seat in Hungary's parliament. Or Ghulam insisting that every girl in her rural Pakistani village deserved to be enrolled in school. Each of these women, and I mention them in a personal way, because this has been a personal mission for them. They have reached down deep and done what was necessary. And I often wonder how many of us, including myself, under those circumstances could have done the same. Their courage, their compassion, their commitment, their quiet moral authority has come from putting the well-being of others before their own. Now, we have seen similar tales of courage from women across the Middle East in recent weeks. They have insisted that their voices be heard. And in the coming months and years, the women in Egypt and Tunisia and other nations have just as much right as the men to remake their governments, to make them responsive, accountable, transparent. The United States will stand firmly for the proposition that women must be included in whatever process goes forward. No government can succeed if it excludes half of its people from important decisions. We saw women out in force in Tahrir Square in Cairo. They were clearly saying they expected to have a voice and a vote in the future. And I noticed that last week, a group of Egyptian women wrote to the Constitutional Committee of Egypt asking why none of Egypt's distinguished women legal experts had been invited to join in drafting constitutional amendments for the transition to democracy. We will certainly be watching, and the world will watch. And it's not just the rest of the world, but the women themselves who deserve to be at that table, making those choices that will affect their lives and the lives of their daughters and their sons, no matter what government emerges. It will take more than democracy to create real opportunity and stable societies. It will take jobs and economic growth. So I am delighted to announce that we are launching a new partnership designed to help businesswomen in developing countries make the most of their talents. The Goldman Sachs Foundation's 10,000 Women Department of State Women's Entrepreneurship Partnership. It's a mouthful, but it's a really critical effort to provide scholarships for 100 women entrepreneurs over the next 2 years. And we...
3 years ago today, Goldman Sachs launched 10,000 Women, a $100 million investment to provide business and management education to women entrepreneurs. Our investment in women is anchored in ours and the World Bank's research that showed how investing in women can have a real impact on GDP growth, particularly in developing economies. Today, more than 3,300 women have gone through the program in more than 20 countries.
Thank you very much, Lloyd. And now it's my great pleasure to present to you the Prime Minister of Australia. She will have to leave early, but I am so glad she could be here to share a few words. Julia.
Thank you very much. It is a tremendous privilege to be able to join you here today, and happy International Women's Day to each of you. I come as the first female Prime Minister of Australia wearing a scarf given to me by the first female Governor-General of Australia, a courageous woman herself who has fought for women's equality in our nation. And I am very honoured to be here today with First Lady Michelle Obama and Secretary of State Clinton, and to join so many women of courage who have done remarkable things in our world. I know today at this event, Secretary of State Clinton is going to say some things about these women of courage, so I want to take the opportunity to say something about her. To say something about her courage and how she has been an emblem and an inspiration for women around the world. And in honouring Secretary of State Clinton, I would like to use words that she said in 2008. She applied them to others, but I believe that they apply to her. She said that the bravest and most remarkable achievement is what you make unremarkable: female leadership. Secretary of State Clinton, you've made female leadership an image around the world. I don't think we can say female leadership is unremarkable yet, but you have made the journey so much easier for others. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister, for stating with such passion and reminding all of us of the importance of fighting for education for all girls and boys. And some of my former colleagues in the Congress have been on the front lines of that fight for many years. It is now my great personal privilege and just absolute delight to introduce the First Lady of the United States. Now, you know, I have a soft spot for all First Ladies. It is really one of the most difficult roles I've ever had, and I have watched with great admiration as Michelle Obama has taken on such important work. It is such an honor to ask you to join me in welcoming Michelle Obama.
Yourselves. Good morning. It is a true pleasure to be here with all of you. This is one of the most important events that I do each year, and I'm grateful to be here again. I will be here next year and the year after that, and after that, and after that. start by thanking my friend, Secretary Clinton, not just for that very kind and generous and warm and heartfelt introduction, but she is one heck of a Secretary of State. She has been an amazing gift, not just to our country, but to the rest of the world. We are thrilled that she is part of this administration. But more importantly, I want to thank her for her kindness, for her friendship, for her support, for her advice, not just to me, but to my family, just figuring out how to negotiate this interesting life here in Washington, D.C. She has been a true friend, and for that we should give her all another big round. I also want to thank Madam Prime Minister for joining us and for hanging out with my husband yesterday. And for all of your work. We look forward to coming to see you soon, hopefully. But that's not up to me. People like Secretary Clinton. Ambassador Milan Vivir, thank you as well for your work. To Cherie Blair, it's wonderful to see you as well. Thank you for being here. And to Lloyd Blankfein, you're holding your own as the man in the chair. Thank you so much for your hard work and for everything that you all are doing to improve the lives of women and girls around the world. I have to take a privilege. I did this last year. I want to recognize some young women who are here again this year. And they are my young mentees, the White House mentees who are here in the front row. You guys have to stand up. I know, it's embarrassing. These young women, we have spent a good while with. You guys can sit down. But they have been our shadows for a good year, so we've watched them grow and mature, and we're just so proud of them. Many of them are headed off to college, but we will be staying in touch. But it's important for me to make sure they're here at this event, to really understand the power of service and sacrifice and what it means to be a real woman in the world, leading and taking risks. So I want you all to keep your ears open and to take some good notes because this is really a special event, and we're glad you all are here. And most of all, I want to recognize the extraordinary women of courage that we're here to honor today. These women are amazing. They are trailblazing leaders. We have the first female head of state in Central Asia, the only female Roma member of parliament in Hungary, the first female prosecutor general in Afghanistan. They are activists, they are truth tellers. We have a teacher who empowers women and girls in rural villages. We have a leader for democratic reform who started her work at the age of 14. There's a journalist and a blogger who writes the stories no one else will write. Lawyers who take cases that no one else will take, who represent victims that no one else will help. But while they come to us from all different corners of the globe, and they've taken a whole wide range of different paths to this moment, they are here today because each of them at some point made a decision. At some point, each of them decided that she simply could not carry on in the face of an injustice. She decided that she could no longer accept discrimination or corruption. She could no longer stand silent in the face of violence or oppression, poverty or inequality. And so each in her own way decided to act. They decided to speak up, to publish an article, to file a lawsuit, to run for office, to open a school. And they have done these things at great, tremendous risks to themselves and to their families. They've received death threats. They have been beaten, kidnapped, imprisoned, tortured. One, as Secretary Clinton mentioned, has even had her house bombed and must now homeschool her children out of fear for their safety. She's now accompanied by armed guards everywhere she goes, but as Maria Bashir put it simply, if we women do not accept risk and work, no changes will happen. So these women have accepted these risks. They have worked for change. And time and again, these women have discovered a very simple truth, that courage can actually be contagious. It wasn't that long before Yoani Sanchez's blog had caught fire on the internet and was being downloaded onto computer flash drives and passed from person to person. When it was censored by the state, she continued her blog through what she calls a citizen network, a network of people outside of Cuba who helped publish her post. Her writing is now translated into 15 languages. 15. After being forced into marriage when she was just 12 years old, Gulam Sugra became the first woman in her village to be divorced. As a result, she was considered an outcast. But as she put it, she says, something got into my head and turned my nerves to steel. And she went on to not just become the first woman in her village to graduate from high school, but to help countless other girls and women get an education of their own. The meaning of life is about keeping our feet on the ground, undeterred, and making our way toward our ideals. We have no complaints. We have no regret. We thank every entity and every friend who cares for us and supports us. We have you who will walk with us. And in the end, that's why we are all here today. We're here today because of that. That's why we hold this event every year in America's capital. We do this to send a clear message to all of you, our women of courage, and to women like you all around the world, that you are never alone in your struggle. America will continue to walk with you. People everywhere who care about freedom and justice and equality will walk with you. And so today we honor you for your courage, your passion, and your commitment, and we look forward to all that you will continue to achieve in the months and years ahead. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I love the phrase that courage is contagious, so we're going to see how we can propagate that in many different lands. It is now my honor to present the International Women of Courage Award. Let me first ask Maria Bashir of Afghanistan to join me. For a lifetime of selfless dedication to the pursuit of justice, the rule of law, human rights, and freedom of expression, at great cost to herself, her physical safety, her family, her acceptance by her society, she has never wavered, and for that, we give you this award. Excellency, Madam President. I love saying that.
Mrs. Obama, Secretary Clinton, distinguished invitees, today is a great day for us. The sun is brightly shining in our hearts. Each of us is waging a fierce battle for the ideals and unshakable convictions she stands for. Each of us does it, whatever the price to pay, the loneliness of a long-distance runner, repression, torture, aggressivity from everywhere, the violence of those you cherish, humiliations. We fight to achieve our goals, making our country the best place to live, where you enjoy freedom, genuine democracy, development, gender equity, and good governance. The International Woman of Courage Award represents for all of us a new beginning and a good reason to stand firm. This country has done a lot in shaping the mentalities and contributing to building a modern democratic society. On behalf of my bold sisters, let me express our deep and sincere gratitude. Thank you.
And now to close this celebration, we have a very special surprise. Grammy Award-winning composer and lyricist Tina Clark has written a song for today, a song to honor the international women of courage and the women they represent around the world, and to honor Secretary Clinton and the First Lady. Judith, can you come up, please? I Believed will be performed now for the first time, and here is Judith Hall to do so.
I never thought beyond the boundaries. I didn't know I had a choice. I never knew anyone was listening. I didn't know I had a voice. One day I reached down deep inside. Oh, had the courage I had prayed for all my life. I believe in me. I found my wings
time, we ask that all of our guests hold while the First Lady, the Secretary, and the honorees take photos and take leave of the room. And then we invite all of you to join us for a reception upstairs in the Ben Franklin room. As the President said, happy March 8th. Thank you all again.
Voilà, comme vous pouvez voir derrière moi, Mme Clinton et tous les autres qui ont vraiment animé cette il y a certaines choses que nous devons retenir. Voilà, nous allons voir la femme. À ce moment même que nous parlons, il y a une femme, il y a deux femmes, il y a 80 femmes, il y a 30 femmes. On va dire plus femmes congolaises qui sont encore privées à ce moment. Un message très fort, vous avez suivi tout ce qui s'est dit ici sur ce podium. On va tout Madame Michelle Obama et Madame Garry ont fait un point très important. Pour montrer que tout cela dépend du courage. Il faut prendre votre courage entre vous même défendre ce que vous pensez. Alors, sur le podium, vous avez vu, il n'y avait aucune femme congolaise. On a dit congolaise à cause de la Hawa. Des moments où toujours le bas, maman a vu ça, balai qui a vu ça, bazar peut tourner dans la tête, maman qui s'était célébrée, journée à femme. Alors, avant tout, je vais profiter pour la maman de table, je vais profiter pour dire vraiment comment vous souhaitez une très bonne journée de la femme. Mais je sais que c'est avec tristesse et avec amertume que nous fêtons cette journée de la femme. Puisque la femme est toujours crucifiée, elle est toujours violée à l'est de la République démocratique. Alors, le débat dans la mission, vraiment, dans la mission, Alexa va journée, va podium, Kobina Moudakala, Alexa va journée, il y a Kobina va danse, Moko ya Tinate, les alliés moyens, on a pouvoir courage, na bino, ce n'est pas facile. Parce que on se va jouer à trophée Awa, Bakanga Bango, Babeka Bango, Basala Bango, il faut prendre le courage entre nous donner pour que les loyaux qui peuvent reconnaître Bino. Parce qu'Afghanistan, il y a Cuba, il y a Cameroun, Congolais Azadé. Ça fait plus de 10 ans que les Congolais ont fait la guerre, ma femme a violé. Mais parce qu'il ne faut pas avoir action, il faut pas fight, il faut pas pour alors, vraiment, on a maman à tous les sabatans, pour la sabana, la télévision, mais tout le cas, moyen, dans la Awa Balobi, plus de 100 millions de dollars où ils allaient bâtir disponible pour Naba, pour Naba Nabasi, pas projet à Bassi. Il faut bosser à la projet qui doit la financer. Alors, Madame Obama, Clinton à Lubaka, female rights is human rights. Donc, il y a femmes, les appels droits, tout cas, Bini Sabah. Tout cas, pour justifier moi, c'est une importance de ligner que l'année prochaine, à un podium, moi, c'est à promover à Zambie. Merci. Garry, Iwele comme toujours, Bakolo States, et puis CNTV, Dalaraka, solo là qui m'a solo à niveau, le bas qui m'a à niveau, toujours qui est ici, moi, c'est un mot pour Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton à Zalaki. Merci.
We had almost 90 submissions, and of those, 10 were selected, women of remarkable courage, which is not to say that they aren't women in every country who deserve this award, and certainly in Iran there are many, but we based it on the nominations that we got through our embassies.
I think we have time for one final question.
My name is Garry Iwele for Bakolo State and CNTV from the DRC. I do have two questions. My first question goes to Mrs. the Ambassador. While we're celebrating today the International Women's Day, 40 more women has been tortured and raped in the Congo. I know you recently traveled in the DRC. What is your message to all those women who are still living in fear, days in and out? And also, what is the position of the U.S. government on these criminals who are still on the run and protected by the international community, especially Rwanda? And the second question goes to Madame Henriette. It's almost the same question, but I would like her to send a message to Congolese women, if possible, to say in French. Madame, pendant que nous célébrons aujourd'hui la journée internationale de la femme, plus de 40 femmes ont encore été violées aujourd'hui à l'est de la République démocratique du Congo. Quel est votre message à toutes ces femmes en recevant aujourd'hui aux États-Unis, ici précisément à Washington, ces trophées de la femme courageuse internationale? Merci. Thank you.
It is indeed a very difficult situation, the DRC. I was back there about 2 weeks ago following up on Secretary Clinton's trip of last June. There has been a considerable effort being made by the United States government, as well as work in conjunction with multilateral organizations like the UN and other countries to address many of the challenges, and there are many. And so we have been working on a wide range of issues that have to be addressed, that include the security questions, ensuring that the soldiers are properly trained, ensuring that through the United Nations that the MONUSCO force is indeed deployed in a way that protects the civilians. And as you said, we keep seeing these attacks of unprotected women. Working to strengthen the NGOs. There is a deep feeling among the women, and I've spent a lot of time in the eastern part of the country as well as in Kinshasa to resource and enable the NGOs who are filled with talent, many women who are fully capable of making a difference, even including those who want to go from their pain to exerting their power to really in solidarity begin to address their immediate problems, working with them and through others, other NGOs to provide the full range of services to deal, obviously, with the consequences of what they're going through, but beyond that, to help give them the skills and the empowerment that they need to be able to address some of these issues. The justice system is anemic at best. We have been doing considerable work with the DRC in hopes of getting a mixed chamber system established. Beyond that, there have been some recent positive developments in terms of apprehending some of those soldiers who were involved in the New Year's Day brutality in Fizi, and some of the top commanders whom the Secretary mentioned when she was in the DRC. A regimen in terms of the conflict minerals. There is action on every button, if you will, that has to be pushed to be able to bring about the kind of change and end to this conflict, and most particularly in terms of the political discussions within the country and regionally. And of course, there is an election coming up, and I think it will be very important to ensure that it's a free and fair election, that citizens can vote safely, that they're not intimidated and undermined in that process. And that has got to be something that gains not only considerable attention and support from us in terms of civic participation, but from the broader international community. So there are a range of challenges, all of which we are really working very hard to try in some way to address so that we don't have an ongoing situation that you just described.
Thank you. Thank you. It happens to be that I'm the gender coordination for IFJ, International Federation of Journalists for Central Africa. And the Federation of Unions in Central Africa is led by a Congolese from the DRC, Mr. Stanislas Kundiye. So I work with female journalists, and we have all these informations on rapes in the eastern part of your country. I think that what I can say as a message is that women must continue to organize. I know that they are really organizing themselves in the field of journalism, civil society. There are many, many associations and NGOs who are very, very dynamic. And I think that they should be helped and supported by the international community to put an end to these massive rapes. Of course, I'm a woman. There has never been a big civil war in my country since the years of the liberation movement for independence of Cameroon. But I know what is going on in DRC and in other countries where women are the first victims of civil wars. So, le message que je peux transmettre à mes sœurs congolaises, comme je l'ai dit tout à l'heure, c'est que les Congolaises sont très, très organisées. Je m'en suis rendu compte en tant que coordinatrice genre de la FIJ, la Fédération internationale des journalistes. Nous avons une fédération de syndicats et le président s'appelle Stanislas Kundiye, qui est de la RDC. Et donc, à travers nos réunions et le travail que je fais pour les femmes journalistes, qui sont très nombreuses ailleurs et qui n'ont pratiquement pas de salaire, notamment dans le secteur privé, m'amène à être en contact avec la condition des femmes, notamment dans l'est de votre pays où il y a une guerre terrible. Mais je dis que les journalistes femmes rapportent régulièrement des informations là-dessus, quoi qu'elles soient exposées, comme les journalistes hommes d'ailleurs, à des assassinats, mais elles rapportent souvent les informations. Et c'est à la communauté internationale qui a beaucoup plus de moyens, y compris des moyens de coercition pour pouvoir forcer les populations, et notamment les soldats et les forces rebelles qui sont dans cette région très nombreuses, parce que c'est une région riche, c'est pas par hasard, pour qu'il n'y ait plus de viols de cette ampleur. Et est-ce qu'on arrête les gens qui violent? Est-ce qu'on les amène au tribunal? Quels sont les moyens de coercition, autant du point de vue du droit que du point de vue tout simplement militaire? Mon message pour le 8 mars, c'est que les femmes continuent à s'organiser, mais en plus des associations, l'engagement des femmes en politique est important, parce que c'est sur le plan politique qu'on prend les décisions fondamentales, et les décisions comme celle-là ne s'arrêtent pas à des organisations non gouvernementales. C'est une question d'État avec les moyens de coercition, la justice, la police, l'armée, et il faut que les femmes soient très engagées là-dessus pour pouvoir influer sur les décisions qui peuvent être prises dans ce secteur. Merci.
Thank you so much. I'd like to thank Ambassador Revere and our International Women of Courage honorees today for spending some time with us. This concludes the briefing and will be followed momentarily by the daily press briefing with Assistant Secretary Crowley. Right behind you. Thank you.
Malheureusement, notre émission touche déjà à sa fin, mais nous vous donnons rendez-vous samedi prochain, même heure, même chaîne. Au revoir.
Garry, Iwele, GI, les assistants football américain, Bakolo States.